Today's topic, perfect topic for Robert. I ran across this article 10 things guys wish women knew about men.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. I'm so happy to welcome one of my favorite guests back to Second Act, Robert Manni, the author of The Guys Guide to Love and Guys Guy Radio. Robert, thanks for joining me again.
My pleasure, Silka. Glad to be here. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. I today's topic, perfect topic for Robert. I ran across this article 10 things guys wish women knew about men. You know, these kind of headlines always grab your attention. And then again, it's written by a woman, and she wrote she extracted this from interviewing 1,000 or more men. So in reading this, I'm thinking now, are these opinions given, men responding to a woman? Would it have been different if it was a man interviewing a man? So anyway, let's get down to the points because I want to get the guy view on this. Number one, Robert, men would rather feel unloved than inadequate and disrespected.
Well, when you feel inadequate and disrespected, that's kind of feeling unloved. So, my overall take on the survey was I give a lot of credit to somebody going through the effort of doing this work and trying to nail down 1,000 guys to ask these questions. And I do think what you said is also correct, Silka, that it's going to be skewed a little bit because when a man is being interviewed by a woman, he might process that through his answers. And when it's a guy talking to another guy, you might get a little more unvarnished responses, a little bit more raw. It might be a little bit more directly honest, but I can't say that for sure. Having read the list, I think overall, I think there's some truth to them. I guess the question I would have is some of them came across as a little bit obvious to me. They're human nature. They're not just strictly for men. But taking this first point, if you're would you rather be unloved or disrespected and feel inadequate? Well, again, if you feel inadequate and disrespected, you're probably going to feel unloved. So they're kind of part and parcel to the same. They're dotted line connected, if not locked in.
Right. Well, and I think that what's of benefit here, or for somebody to think about, especially when you're in a longer term relationship, women do sometimes get fed up, or it's just like you forget that maybe what you're saying is disrespectful, or you're not I don't know, you're not giving your man enough credit. So maybe it's worthy thinking about. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I agree completely. Then and again, I think that's human nature. If you're a woman, would you want your man to be saying disrespectful things that make you feel inadequate? Would that make you feel unloved? I think the answer would be yes. And I don't mean to be picking on the survey. I give a lot of credit for putting this together. But I think it's understandable that men would rather feel, quote unquote, unloved than disrespected and inadequate. Those are strong words, and words have power.
Yeah. Number three is another one. Men are often insecure.
I agree. I'm a man. I get insecure. I think all human beings are, in particular in Western culture, get insecure. We're bombarded by advertising, images, and media that tells us what's wrong with everything, and there's so much negativity. So I don't think it's specifically about men. But if you want to focus in on are men insecure, I think sure, every man has some insecurities. And general paintbrush on all men. Men are insecure. That's too strong, I think. But we do have some insecurities, and it goes back to feeling. Men, I think, want to feel wanted. They want to feel attractive. They, just like a woman, they want to feel successful. They want to feel like they're a protector. They want to feel capable.
Yeah. Maybe her point is in bringing this out is that men won't really vocalize, or fessing up to insecurities being maybe too vulnerable. Maybe, and I think she makes the point here that men really are secretly vulnerable, and women need to know that.
That's, I think, very well stated. And I think that's true because I think a lot of guys, even though we're kind of prodded nowadays to become more vulnerable and open about our feelings, the flip side is women don't want to date or mate with a blubberpuss who's going to be crying all the time. It's not attractive. So, guys are always like, should I talk about how I feel, or is she going to think that I'm a wuss? So we have to be careful about that, and that's part of the men's overall insecurity because whereas women have been on a straight trajectory to achievement and long overdue recognition, men are in a quandary. They're kind of caught between, young guys are caught between the MMA and manscaping, and older guys are like, am I a dinosaur? Is it over for me? So it's tough being a man because our roles are constantly changing, and they're not really clearly identified right now. Now, I would say that there's never been a better time to be a man, and this is a time where men could be anything they want to be more than they ever have. Yet it's also a time where it's never been less clear who men are.
Yeah, no. So the takeaway is for women is just understand that there are probably more insecurities than you realize. Would that be fair?
That would be very fair. That with other, that tough exterior and the long beard and the tattoos and the trucker hat with the flat brim, that's great. And your guy's a guy, and but he's a human being also, and human beings have vulnerabilities.
No, I like that. Here's obvious, but it's really worth talking about when you think about it. Sometimes the obvious, not so obvious. Men want more sex. As she said, duh, but we might not understand the reason why. And here it says that the need to be desired is maybe more important than the actual sex act. I'm not sure that seems to me like a little lost in translation between women and men.
Yeah, I think men have a pretty good ability to compartmentalize sex. So they can just have sex for the sake of having sex as a physical act to somebody that they're attracted to because we live often visually through our eyes and we get turned on that way. And whether it's bad or good or whatever, it is what it is. It needs to be addressed, yes. But, if that's part of our kind of DNA or cultural upbringing, that's the way it is. Now, do men want to feel desired during sex? Of course they do. And they want to desire the person that they're having sex with. Of course, they want the intimacy. Intimacy makes sex a lot better. Can they have sex and just say, okay, we did this? Yeah, otherwise there would be no prostitution, but it's the oldest profession. So therefore, men have the capability of compartmentalizing sex for the act itself. However, it was much more wonderful because you are exchanging energy when you have sex with somebody. So I think men need to be really picky about who they decide to have sex with because you're exchanging energy, and it's very important. And the same for women also. So when you're on the same energetic frequency, if you will, when you're having sex, that's awesome. It's much better.
Yeah. The one of her other points here is that sex means more than sex. And what she means by that is that when a husband feels rejected, well, it goes to rejection. The rejection that comes with sex that a lot of women don't, or maybe they just need to understand how bad rejection is for a man.
Yeah, well, men's ego can be fragile that way, and I think it's understandable that, men would much prefer that their partner be into it and find them that they found them incredibly attractive and virile and all of that versus like, okay, I gotta like give one up for this guy, the mercy, what, and that's, the guys will take it for the most part, but that's not what they want. They want it to be a more fulfilling experience that boosts their ego and makes them feel good about everything in life and themselves and their partner in the relationship. So I don't think there's anything really wrong with that people want to feel pretty.
Right.
I know I do.
Yeah. Well, I know. And again, speaking to a lot of women, and I'm speaking to myself when I remember, married when I actually still had sex with my ex-husband, but didn't like. I mean, it was more like, well, as long as I just give it up, then everything's, fine. He's had, and that's, I think that's exists in a lot of long-term relationships that are not
Yeah, that's no fun.
completely happy.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something good to be aware of. Uh, Here's one that
It's about being present, really. If you're present and you don't want to just give it up to your partner, because like, what fun is that? I mean, relationships. When we get into a relationship with somebody, between a man and a woman, let's say in this instance, it's a special universe that's unique, and you want to make that as. And if you're part and parcel to that, you want to be the most wonderful universe as possible because it's unique and it's just between you and your partner, and you don't want it to be like, he needs this, I'm going to give him that. Okay, I'll take it. But it's better if it works both ways and everybody feels really good about themselves and they feel really good about giving.
Right, right, exactly. The this I thought this was interesting. Men enjoy romance, but doubt their skills to be romantic, and the implication is that because of a fear of failure, of having it accepted or being laughed at or something, that's why they don't tend to express romantic feelings or gestures. Is that true?
I would agree with that completely. I think that's a
Really?
great point. Yeah, because guys really don't have any training in how to be romantic now. It's obviously it should be something that's more organic, and women seem to be experts at it, but guys are always struggling. Like, okay, roses, and the obvious stuff. But it's about the details. It's like, I'll clean the house before she comes home. That's romantic for a lot of women, right? That the fact that he went and did that on his own, like he's going to have some fun tonight. And so the ways that romance can work,
Hmm.
it's not necessarily about writing a poem or a nice dinner or flowers. There's different ways of expressing romance, and a lot of times guys don't have a clue. And I don't really think it's that their fault because they don't talk about it with each other. I assure you, guys don't talk about how are you romantic with your wife. With heterosexual guys, doesn't happen. We don't have. Where are we going to learn? We're going to learn when women tell us, "Hey, how about buying me some flowers?" And then you buy flowers, and it's not the ones that she had mentioned that she likes.
Well, that's
I go to
because you
the
should know what I like.
Exactly, exactly. And that's because men don't pay attention the way women do. And women pay attention to the little things. They notice everything, and men don't. So they think, I got flowers. Here, flowers. And it's like, she doesn't like that type of flowers. And you didn't know that. And now you know that because you look at her face and she's not that thrilled. And you wonder, what did I do wrong? I'm not good at this. I'm not going to do this. Forget flowers.
No, I was being somewhat facetious because that is something that if I can tell the women listening, don't expect a man to know what you want, or you should know that by now. It's just, boy, you're going to be disappointed
It's rampant. It
every
happens,
time.
and it kills relationships
Yes.
because uh, you can go years where things fester, and a
Yeah.
lot of times people will not say what they're really feeling, and the fact that they're feeling unappreciated and feeling inadequate because of that, and that they're resentful and angry underneath, and it kills a lot of relationships because the way guys normally behave is that if I have a problem, I'm going to say something, then I'll listen to the response, and then if it addresses it in the way I want, great. If it doesn't, I know we have a disagreement. For a lot of women, it's like he should know what I'm feeling. And the guy may not pay attention as well, probably doesn't. And then there's an issue because he's just not on the same page. And then his partner is going to feel unappreciated and that he's not listening, meaning that he does not value me or put me on a pedestal that I deserve to be on because I give so much to this relationship. And you have this constant churn that happens over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's good to know. It's always good to bring that up and have that be top of mind, I think. That's why I kind of
Pay
like
attention.
these. Yeah.
Pay attention, guys.
Yeah. Here, last one. There's a couple more, but we'll make this our last one, Robert. Men care about their wives or their spouses, girlfriends, whatever, appearance, that they care about the appearance of the woman they're with.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think it's ego driven. I'm not saying it's a. I think it's a good thing that you want your wife to be the most beautiful woman in the world in your eyes, and also you want to show her off to the world, so you want her to look good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, except if you put her in a comparison. Like, how about this fitness model I saw on Instagram? I want you to look like that. That's not really fair or many times realistic. As long as people do the best they can do with what they have, you can't ask for more than that. And really, when you fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with a person and their overall being. And it's not just about looks, but it is important. We're people, and guys are weak and they're visual, so you want to look good. So I would advise any woman out there, look your best with your guy. You're going to feel good about it, and as you should, and the guy should feel good about it also. Now, if you get all dressed up and look great and take care of yourself, and he doesn't, then he should work on himself, and you can point that out, like, hey, how about let's go to the gym together, let's go for a run or whatever. You want to be kind of on that same comfortable level with your partner, like we're both working out, we both feel pretty good, it's not a competition, but we want to feel good and we want to look good. That's healthy. What's unhealthy is if you're criticizing, you're putting psychologically putting the other person down because they're not living up to this fantasy standard you have of where they should be.
Right. Right, exactly. Great point. And, again, like we said, these are kind of fun they stimulate thought. And I think it's always worth a discussion to maybe that sparks something in someone. It's like, maybe I am doing that, or maybe that's good. Anything you want to add on this subject?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, it's the bottom line to everything, is you have to learn how to love yourself before you can love anybody else. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, you're not going to be lovable to other people, and you're not going to know how to love other people. So you got to love yourself in a respectful way, but in a way that's not arrogant and narcissistic. It's about just self-love, because everything, if you have the perspective that everything is love, then you're love also.
I keep saying that you're just a deep guy, Robert. What can I say? Well, I will link, of course, to all your information to your podcast. I'll link to this article, so if you want to read it yourself and see see how you feel about it. And Robert, we'll see you next time on Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silke. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube. When you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.